Gonna walk around for 2 months in Iran when she has her leg issues.
Well, they can't get her a wheelchair, and maybe some young dude that doesn't have a job pay them $5-10 a day to go around with them with the wheelchair. I mean, there's Alan also,
Yeah,
but I don't know how much walking they're going to be doing. They'll probably be on, going from meeting to meeting
true.
and like that. So, Alex, I don't know if I can access that video because I don't have Instagram on my laptop and I'm on TikTok on the cell phone.
Which video?
The video about the water manipulation, but we can talk about it, right?
We can talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. دوستانی که توی کامنتن اولا لایک دوما اول ما میذاریم دوستامون صحبت کنن بعد آخرش میتونین بیاین سوال کنین سوالاتون رو بنویسین اگه مناسب بود میایم بالا صحبت میکنین
Ellie, this is going to be in English, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, your speech is in English. I don't know if somebody comes up and has a question in Farsi.
In Farsi, just translate it so we can. I can answer it.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to show up, so. Okay, people in the comments, please like. We need to become popular live.
How's the sound quality? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Afshin, who's Afshin? I don't know what that is. فقط منتظر نوری جون شیم. Okay, where's Nuri? I send it again. Do you know, same situation like you happened to a friend of ours, Shirin Saidi.
What happened?
She got fired from her job because she defended the Islamic Republic and prayed for the well-being of Imam Khomeini.
Yeah, that will do it. That definitely will do it.
Some woman called Ladan Bazargan, a former mujahid.
Layli Bazargan.
Ladan Bazargan.
Okay.
The one that you saw the poster was my first post in Finca Azul. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so a woman named Ladan Bazargan ratted her out?
Yeah, she has an NGO, so she's targeting 10 Iranian academics. And she got 5 people fired so far.
I didn't get fired. I was just warned that I can't go on Press TV.
Okay.
Luckily,
No,
I
she
didn't
got fired. She got fired.
No, I'm saying for me. That didn't happen to me. I was warned, by the authorities here that I can't go on Press TV. That's what happened to me.
Right. Okay. All right. Why don't I start reading your bio while Nuri is...
You're recording this, right?
Yes.
Okay, Ellie, make sure you send me a copy right after we're done, okay?
Okay, it takes a few hours to download and...
Okay, that's fine.
And I have to send you a YouTube link. So another few hours for me to upload.
Got it.
Okay, so our guest today is Mr. Dr. Alexander Azadgan. I'm going to read his bio. Alexander Azadgan is a multi-awarded professor of business studies, geopolitics, and international political economy in numerous colleges in Southern California, as well as overseas universities, having won the Intellectual Educator Recognition Award from the University of California, Irvine. Currently, he is the Chief Geopolitical Counsel with, Council with Center for Geopolitical Studies in Serbia. He has also served as an adjunct national security policy advisor to several world governments. Professor Azadgan has regularly appeared on various mega non-mainstream global news channels as a senior political commentator, such as Russia's Sputnik News, CGTN, China Global Television Network, Iran's Press TV, Lebanon's Al Mayadeen News Channel, among many other independent American news outlets. Additionally, he has served as the editor-at-large with Turkey's United World International Analytical Center, UWI, and Russia's Imperia News. Professor Azadgan is also a regular keynote speaker at think tanks, symposiums, and international conferences. He focuses on the complex interconnectivities of the global North and the global South, specializing in international political economy, international business, military intelligence, security affairs, international relations, foreign policy formation, geopolitical analysis, forecasting, as well as cultural, religious, and anthro-sociological aspects and angles of things that pertain to his above-mentioned academic. Okay, page 2. I had to take screenshots and send to myself. Now I have to open page 2. Okay. Forecasting, as well as cultural, religious, and anthro-sociological aspects and angles of things that pertain to his above-mentioned academic specialties. He confronts global issues through a multidisciplinary knowledge, based his specific geographical regions of specialty are U.S., Eastern Europe, Southwest Asia, and Northeast Asia. He is a member of the intellectual dark web, which is a loosely defined term for an ideologically diverse network of influential Western conservative thought leaders and senior commentators who share an opposition to political correctness, wokeism, cancel culture, and identity politics in both mainstream higher education and mass media. Other issues of concern include postmodernism and cultural Marxism, which contributes to moral relativism and the suppression of free speech. Professor Alexander Azadgan speaks 5 languages, is well traveled throughout the world, and is a proud and patriotic American citizen. When he's not working, he may be found swimming and surfing and world-famous pristine waves of Orange County in Southern California, where he resides. Okay, let's see if Noor Banu. Hi, Noor June, you're here. Let me see. Okay, I sent you an invite, Noor June. Come on up. We just read the bio for Dr. Azadgan.
Alex John, salam, عزیز دلم. چطوری قربانت؟
Okay.
بگو Alex جان.
نوری جون مایکتون رو ببندم چون خشخش
ببر.
میکنی.
آره مامان جان ببر.
Okay. Okay, Alex, do you want to get started? We haven't seen you for months. War has happened in Iran. There was uprising. There's the water shortage. Where do you want to start?
Well, before I start my commentary, Ellie, on these issues and answer your questions and your audience's questions, I need to preface my lecture with a very important philosophical point. I need to emphatically state that I'm not promoting anyone's so-called propaganda. I'm an equal opportunity critic and a 100% financially and ideologically independent American scholar whose academic and moral responsibilities to speak the truth and raise awareness about global issues. Having said that, my answers to your questions are presented solely as my own opinions, personal opinions, although based on many years of solid academic research, my opinions, my assertions, and my presuppositions should not be misinterpreted as a statement of promoting on behalf of any person, any political cause, any organization, any government, and or any country. Such accusations would be considered libelous, slanderous, and a defamation of my character and public persona. I'm simply exercising my First Amendment rights under the Constitution of the United States of America as a proud American citizen, which is freedom of speech and freedom of thought. I cannot emphasize this enough for the sake of clarity and fully uncensored, independent academic discourse. And for the record, U.S. national security interests are my sole priority as a bridge-building academic for the sake of truth, justice, and peace. I'm driven to do this for the sake of living a purpose-driven life and for the sake of our children across the global community so they would have a brighter future instead of a dismal one that many power-hoarding political and economic leaders of the world are unfortunately creating. We need to reverse this course and get off this wrong trajectory now. That's why I do what I do. Period.
Okay. So, shall we start talking about the war? How do you see that?
Yeah, Elijun, I want to ask questions too.
Sure. We said we let him talk and then we start with
Okay.
questions.
Okay, baby.
Or do you wanna bring up a subject you want him to talk about? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like him to talk about Israeli attack on Iran and U.S. imperialist unprovoked attack on Iran, the children's the massacre of terrorist behavior of killing Minab school children and bombardment of 130 cities, carpet bombing and kidnapping, killing of Ayatollah Khamenei, the leader, and I want to ask if he knows Ayatollah Khamenei and his background. And the 47 years of Islamic Republic and the service that they provided to Iranian people and how Iranian people are so peaceful and never had a war and why Zionists and imperialists attack Iran. What was the reason and provocation and what should we do and what should international community do, international body and American people also. And I want to ask if he has read the president of Iran's letter to American people. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to preface that truth always will always conquer lies. Most people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed, but truth always prevails as it packs the mightiest punch of them all. And as George Orwell said, um, in war, truth is always the first casualty. So there is so much misinformation out there. Obviously, I don't think anybody's watching the mainstream news channels like CNN or Fox or MS Now or News Nation, CBS, NBC, ABC, PBS, Newsmax, which is the ultra right-wing Trump channel. Nobody's watching them. People are watching podcasters. But the problem is there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation. These two are two separate things out there. So you got to be very judicious and use your critical thinking skills to get down to what's really going on. Here in the U.S., unfortunately, we have a draft dodging asshole, I hate to say, who's in charge here, who's our president. And the last person who would ever fight in a war is the first person who would send your children to do it. That's what we got over here. If he is successful with his ground invasion of Iran, which I'm forecasting, Trump would probably attack 3 islands in the Persian Gulf. The Greater Tomb, Lesser Tomb, and the third one, the Abu Musa Island, which UAE claims illegally as its own. It's not. I think at the end, Trump might do a ground invasion of these 3 islands and occupy them and then declare victory. Because as you know, he's knee high in trouble right now. In the US, as far as the optics go for this war, there's been a massive failure of media messaging, information operation, and public diplomacy by the Trump administration. And he knows it. Even though the Iranian infrastructure has been decimated, we need to be clear on that. Iran has sustained great losses, both in terms of human beings and as well as this infrastructure, to the point where they're actually bombing universities. But from the optics perspective, from the PR, the psychological war perspective, the Trump administration, and I use the word Trump administration, not United States. I intentionally do that. The Trump administration has lost this war, and they know it. The European allies of United States are not supporting this war. Countries like Spain, who have a wonderful socialist prime minister, have verbatimly, come out and say we don't support this war. Italy is not supporting this war. They're not allowing their bases to be used for Trump to attack Iran. So, like I said, from a from a public diplomacy perspective, Trump has lost this war. But my problem is with war in general, because war doesn't bring peace. It just teaches the next generation new reasons to hate. That's why we choose peace. It's not just some let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya, the lovey-dovey reason. We hate war because we don't want the amount of hate to increase in the world. We don't want, wars are always based on lies and exaggerations and distortions. And it's a distraction in this case for Trump to get us into this war, because he is in a lot of trouble with the Epstein files. That is not going anywhere soon. And he's in a lot of trouble. His name was mentioned in the Epstein files 5,000 times. He's a child molester. He's a rapist. He's a criminal. He's a mafia boss. And that's how he conducts himself globally. I wrote a paper not too long ago. It got published. And the topic of the paper was, what are the long-term impacts of Trump's mafia diplomacy, arm twisting, this kind of stuff, which he's doing on a daily basis with the Iranians. He still thinks he can declare terms and win this war. He is completely delusional at this perspective. And if his cabinet wasn't filled with a bunch of lackeys who are kissing his rear end, the 25th Amendment could have been invoked. As you know, the 25th Amendment of our Constitution is when we can get rid of a president. The cabinet has to declare it if a president is mentally or physically unable to perform the duties of his office. And based on Trump's, Truth Social, that's his social media. It's called Truth Social. Based on his posts on Truth Social, one night he posted 42 posts. This man has lost his marble. Mm-hmm. I think he's psychologically incompetent and mentally ill. And but the administration is packed with his cronies. Mm-hmm. Cronies like Pete Hegseth, this warmongering upstart who's the Secretary of Defense, who illegally calls himself the Secretary of War. That's the illegal. You can't just call yourself with the title. It has to go through the U.S. Congress. We have people like Marco Rubio. Despicable individuals, warmongering neocon individuals who do the bidding of Israel, who believe in the Israel first policy instead of America first policy, and as I like to say, America only foreign policy. So we have a bunch of traitors in this cabinet, and there's no way they're going to invoke the 25th Amendment. So President Trump would be replaced by his even worse Vice President, J.D. Vance. But if he keeps this up, if he keeps having these idiotic fights, whether it's with the Pope or authorities and political leaders in Europe or his domestic opponents, if he keeps this up, they actually might get rid of him. They may ask him to resign, and J.D. Vance would take over, and then he would pardon him from his Epstein crimes. Something like similar to what Gerald Ford did when President Nixon resigned from the office. That is an alternative. It's possible they may do that, because if he keeps this up until 2028, he may ruin the chances of J.D. Vance to become president in 2028. And so anything is possible at this point. But while you and I and our audience are sitting down and talking, soon bombs will start raining down on the Iranian people. And Nuri mentioned war crime that took place at that school, that girls' school in Minab, which is in the southern part of Iran. That is a clear war crime. It is being investigated, and some heads have to roll. You cannot target civilian areas, schools, hospitals, whatnot. You cannot do that and get away with it, although Israel has been. And of course, the Trump administration is going to use the same excuses as the Israeli administration of Netanyahu, that, oh, look, there's some bombs, in the school. Oh, look, we're going to, bomb the Golestan Palace or some facility near Golestan Palace, which is a UN World Heritage Site, because there were some nuclear scientists there. They're going to use these idiotic, typical Israeli excuses to bomb places because something is there, which they will never prove, by the way. I think what Iran needs to do right now is file lawsuit after lawsuit. The International Criminal Court against Israel, against the Trump administration, against Netanyahu himself. They have to look at this from a legal perspective. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, they have to do it for optics, for PR, psychological warfare perspective. This administration is gung-ho. It has betrayed its core, the core constituents, the MAGA people, and it's losing one person after another, one thought leader after another, whether it's Tucker Carlson or Megyn Kelly or Candace Owens, all these people that were shilling for Trump a year ago to become president, they're all abandoning Trump, and Trump is becoming very, very isolated. So it's very, very important for the Iranians to pursue this legally, not just through the war of words, in their media, in their news channels, but also from a legal perspective to set clear precedent of going through the Hague in the Netherlands at the ICC. So these things, so he can't get away with this, because the more he gets away with this, the more other, further countries that he's going to attack. He went into Venezuela in the big second or third day of January, kidnapped the president, totally illegal, and that president is being prosecuted in our courts in New York or wherever else in this country. This is illegal. Venezuela is not under the jurisdiction of our American courts. And then he killed the Iranian supreme leader. He's starving Cuba. He wants to invade there next. He wants to go to Greenland. If this madman is not stopped, he's just going to continue doing this. And enough should be, enough is enough. And more world leaders need to, jump on the bandwagon and go after this criminal, this malignant narcissist whose ego is completely out of control. He's unhinged. He's completely ill, and everybody knows that. But people have to go after him legally. And as you know, during the first 4 years of his administration, he was impeached twice. During the terrible 4 years of Biden administration, there were lawsuits against him and whatnot. But just like an inner city cockroach, he just doesn't seem to go away. So that's really what it is. So I think Machiavelli said, if your enemy is making a mistake, don't interrupt him. Just let him keep making mistakes. Let him dig his own grave. And that's what President Trump has been doing. He's really digging his own grave with one idiotic post after another on his Truth Social platform. And before I need to say one more thing. During his first term, you have to understand, Trump is a chronic, obsessive, compulsive liar. During his first term, he was reported to have made 30,573 false or misleading statements. In other words, he's a liar. A soulless, habitual, shameless, compulsive liar. And I'm telling you this as a conservative. I am a conservative. I am not a liberal. I'm a moderate conservative, common sense conservative. But these days, these labels don't mean anything. So I'm not sitting here. I'm not a wokeist. I wasn't for Biden. I wasn't for Kamala Harris. I'm a conservative American who's disgusted by what the Republican Party is getting away with. And that's where I stand. I'm a proud conservative, but I'm ashamed of this administration, and disgusted is actually a better word. And he needs to get further and further exposed. By the way, if somebody's watching this either here or later on YouTube, if you're offended by what I'm saying, it's on you. You're the guilty one because you hate the truth. And just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. You're just an emotional hemophiliac. So, yeah, thank you for your laughter. That's where I stand. And basically, a nation cannot become free and at the same time continue to oppress other nations.
Yes.
This is the policy of the neocons during the past 25, 30 years. And clearly, this is the policy of this mentally ill administration, oppressing one nation after another. I don't think the people who are counseling this administration, the Iranian expats, I call them Israelis who speak Farsi, by the way, they don't understand the mindset of Iranians at all. Iranians are rallying behind their flag. They're in the streets every night. Millions of them, hundreds of thousands of them, bravely protesting this war. And to the point where I saw one of these videos that was they're like forming a human chain.
Yes.
In their capital and in all these other cities. So Israelis and the Trump regime wouldn't bomb them. But this is what they don't understand the soul of the Iranian people, that these people believe in resistance. They are immensely patriotic, and they are not falling for the lies of these Iranian expats, these lying, treacherous, treasonous sellouts, Iranian expats anymore. The protests that led to this war were originally based on economic injustice and corruption, which is a problem in Iran. Iran has systematic economic corruption issues that were not addressed adequately. Those people came in the street and they had a legitimate cause and a concern. And very quickly after that, the mercenaries were let loose. These Mossad mercenaries, whom the former CIA director Mike Pompeo actually validated. He actually confirmed it. And then soon after that, it turned into a civil, almost they wanted to create a civil war situation. And these people were running around, they were shooting policemen, they were shooting even the protesters that they themselves got out into the street, right? And that's why those numbers are so high, which, by the way, we are seeing so many lies out there with the numbers of 30,000 people were killed, 50,000, bogus numbers, complete bullshit. The number of people that were killed were between 3,000 to 5,000.
Correct.
And many of them were police officers who were killed and fellow protesters that were killed by anarchists, right? Mossad-sponsored anarchists. But this false number that's put out by these evil Iranian expats, like I said, the Israelis who speak Farsi.
Yes.
It's just, they're doing that. They're putting these 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people that were dead in order to hide their crimes in Gaza. Because the numbers in Gaza are 70, 75,000 people were killed. So they're intentionally putting this tens of thousands of people killed by the Iranian regime. They're putting that number out there in order to muddy the water and hide their crimes in Gaza.
Yes.
To compare what happened in Iran to Gaza. It is a complete lie propagated by these idiotic, I call him the clown prince, Reza Pahlavi. He's a stooge of the Israelis. He's a disgrace to Iran. He's a disgrace to his father. I'm not a monarchist. He's a disgrace to his father and his grandfather. I'm not a fan of those people at all, but, he's completely sold himself to the Israelis, and he's gone to Israel a couple of years ago. He has had sex with the wall, with the Wailing Wall, with the Shekhinah wall. That's what I call it. He has had intercourse with the wall, putting his little hat over there next to some so-called rabbi, these false teachers, false rabbis. He's an absolute disgrace. He has zero credibility in Iran. And he says, the people were chanting my name in the protest. A lot of those videos were false AI. They put in voices of we support Reza Pahlavi in Farsi and attach it to the videos. I mean, so much of this stuff has been debunked. And because of his outrageous act of treason, of not condemning the intentional death of those girls, those children in Minab, and instead, offering his condolences to the 13 American soldiers who died, he has lost all credibility. He's lost his marble. His bones will never make it to Iran. He's going to die here in the United States. He's going to be buried here. And not only him, but none of his children or his descendants are ever going to go to Iran. He is not a serious candidate for any change in Iran. And this needs to be said. This needs to be said in English, as I'm doing. A lot of people in the Farsi language, we have criticized Reza Pahlavi, but in the English-speaking world, most people haven't heard of this monkey. John Kiriakou, former CIA analyst and whistleblower and journalist, was on Tucker Carlson's show, and he mentioned Reza Pahlavi. And this interview was in English. I posted it on my Instagram, the video of John Kiriakou. He's an honorable former CIA officer, and he really gave it to Reza Pahlavi. He really called him a traitor. He's a monster. Reza Pahlavi is somebody who who betrayed his wife. He had an affair behind his wife's back, and his wife did the same thing. with his trainer, this character named Tom Morley. And Reza Pahlavi also had sex with his brother's girlfriend that culminated in the suicide of his brother, Ali Reza Pahlavi. This is John Kiriakou confirmed this. A former CIA officer wouldn't just say things, okay? He confirmed this on Tucker Carlson's show. We don't know if his brother Ali Reza Pahlavi killed himself or if the monarchist mafia actually killed him. But he had sex with his own brother's girlfriend, and that really threw him off. And there's a child impregnated that woman.
Yes.
We don't know if the child is Reza Pahlavi's child or the child of Ali Reza, who is dead now, who actually was a moderate character. From what I hear, some people in Iran actually respected him. Not because he wanted to take over, but because he was a critic of the monarchists. But this is the level of treachery we're talking about. Cheating on your wife. A man who cheats on his wife is a monster. He's not a man. He's an animal. Actually, I don't mean to insult animals. He's basically a monster. And then on top of it, getting his own brother killed. This is an open secret in the Iranian monarchist community in London, Washington, and Paris.
Yes.
So this is the kind of people we're talking about. He's the one who wants to go in and become the king again. Well, it just happens to me that across the United States, we have all these protests called No Kings protest, right? And this Reza Pahlavi talks about democracy. No, the time for kings, whether it's in the United States in terms of Donald Trump or in Iran in terms of this douchebag, is over. It's done and over with. Iran is going to be a democracy. Iran is going to be a republic, as it has been for the past 47 years. It's a theocratic republic, not a democratic republic, but it is what it is. I mean, they have elections, they have a parliament, they have all these institutions, and that's why, going back to Nuri, that's why the country hasn't collapsed, because of the institutions that were put together. And the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei was very instrumental in creating these institutions. So if they kill him, if they assassinate him, which is what they did, the country wouldn't collapse. But from the economic perspective, the country is an absolute disaster. From the economic perspective, Iran is a kleptocracy. The word kleptocracy from ancient Greek means the rule of the thieves. The thieves are ruling Iran. These mafias, these huge multi-$100 billion economic gangs are, that's the reason why they had this protest in Iran a few months ago, which culminated into Trump and Netanyahu's war against Iran. So the Iranians have to really address economic corruption in Iran. Many people have to be executed. Many people have to go to jail. I'm talking about the thieves, the corrupt children of some of the officials in Iran. They have to be executed. They have to be tried in public. The trials have to be posted on Iranian TV and whatnot, so people would realize there's a sense of justice. Where there's no justice, there can be no peace. And that's why there's literally an ideological civil war in every Iranian family. You have one side that's monarchist, one side that's neutral, one side that's Republican, one side that's anti-monarchist. There's a civil war going on. So the Iranians, at some point really have to clean up their system. President Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash, I believe it was a political assassination, had a plan to address corruption. It just happened to be that 17 Iranian banks vetoed his economic reform plan. I believe Iranian liberals participated in this assassination with the help of Azerbaijan and Israel and CIA.
Yep.
The Iranian liberals, I hate to say, are the fifth column in Iran. They are not to be trusted. They report to Washington and London.
Yes.
Most of them are Freemasons. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact. Rouhani should be prosecuted. Javad Zarif, the disastrous foreign minister, has to be prosecuted. These are the people that weakened Iran so Israel and Trump could attack. Had it not been for a joint comprehensive plan of action better known as the Iranian nuclear deal that the Rouhani administration passed in 2015, August of 2015, Iran would not have been in this weak position for its skies to be totally defenseless. A lot of people from the liberal
I
camp
to
have
mute
to be
whoever's
prosecuted.
making noise. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, can I say hello to a friend that is first time coming? Hi, Blues. Hi, Blues.
Hello, my friend. Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Thank
sure.
you, Dr. Alexander. Thank you for the information. I'm sorry if there's a background noise. I'm in a store. I'll be leaving here soon. I would love to ask you a few questions, if I might.
Sure.
Okay, so let me bring you up, then you're out. Okay. Eleanor June, you have a question. This is Eleanor Omani, wife of Ardeshir Omani. Do you know Ardeshir Omani? Yeah. Eleanor June, you need to unmute.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, sir. I wasn't here at the beginning, and I just got back from the East Coast, so I'm not sure what your full name is. Could you please tell me who you are?
Yeah, Alexander Azadgan. He's a professor. Yeah.
Dr. Alexander Azadgan.
And I believe that you have been you notice my head nodding, you notice my giving you the positive fingers up that I agree, because you have one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best analyses of what has been going on in Iran, what is going on in Iran, and what needs to be done in Iran. And I would like to commend you for your knowledge, your scholarship, and for your fearless expression of truth. I agree. There's nothing that you've said that I do not that I do not agree. I have found nothing that I can say, oh no, I don't accept that. I think I'm very sad that so many in the so-called American left is so clueless, have been abused and used by the powerful ruling group. And I want to say to those of us who feel pain because our families are in Iran, some relatives have been hurt, and the children, you mentioned so many things. Our biggest problem here, to me, is to educate the truth to the American people, which is getting harder and harder because I am a, quote, leftist, a Marxist, or I try to be. I'm not really that smart, but my husband was, and he laid the groundwork. Ardeshir Tagian Omani, he laid the groundwork for me to look at the world events from a class perspective and never to falter looking at historical steps. The United States is not doing more than they did. They are doing less than they did in Iraq, in Syria, well, maybe not Syria, in Libya. Their crimes are, it's not just a crime against Iran. This is the culmination, to me, of the system of advanced capitalism called imperialism, Lenin's classic work, capitalism, imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism. That opened my eyes to the long, long struggle that we have. You know, the idea that Israel is ruling the United States, I see it the other way. The United States is the main character of evil, I'm not religious, but to use some kind of term that we could all understand. Iranians, when I was with my husband in Iran, they say Satana Bozorg. US is the big evil, the big Satan.
You have a question for me, dear?
I'm sorry, say that, sir?
Do you have a question for me?
Yeah, the question I have was trying to actually lead up to is in addition to sharing, let's say, your insightful media and other progressives in the movement, what do you see we have to do actively in the American left movement? The resistance here.
Yeah.
What's the next step for us? I was happy when you criticized hands down. I mean, not hands down. I'm sorry. When you criticized No Kings, I wrote to them because I was furious because I saw they never once brought up war.
Yeah. Well, let me just pick up from there.
Thank you.
There's a difference between liberalism, American liberalism, and American left. Liberals are not leftist, okay?
Right.
The true authentic
I know that.
left in this, yes, the true authentic left in this country perhaps could be argued by the democratic socialists, right? These are credible people. The traditional liberals are sellouts. They are cherry picking from everything just to get elected. And the Democratic Party, that's why they keep losing.
Yes.
The Democrats should have won the 2016 election had they not nominated Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton stole that nomination from Bernie Sanders in the convention, in the 2016 Democratic Convention.
Absolutely.
If the Democrats chose somebody other than Kamala Harris, they could have defeated Trump.
I know.
Bernie Sanders, I have my criticism for him, but I think he is the true left. So the problem is with American liberals, not the left. Now, as for me, I'm not part of that movement. I am a conservative. I am not a Republican. As I say, not all Republicans are conservative, and not all conservatives are Republicans. So I don't, especially on social issues, I don't subscribe at all to what the progressives have been pandering. And that's why they've been losing, frankly.
Yes.
They pander to these side issues, these minuscule issues, whether it's sexual deviancy issues. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but they pick these issues that nobody cares about. And that's why they lose
class
elections. They
doesn't
have lost
accept it.
They're safe. They're safe.
yeah, they